It's the George Plaster Show. 30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. Featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Watson Brown. And it's a shame it's taken this long to get an introduction for this Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer, Kelly Holcomb, along with young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in to the start of March. Pretty shocking. It's March. And guess what? It is nasty outside, kind of raw. Not what we hoped March would kick in with. But when I look at the old forecast, here's what I see. Tomorrow, 63, partly sunny. Same thing Sunday, but 72. And then next week, the highs are 73, 68, 68, 70, and 68. So that's not all bad. Billy, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good.
How about them Preds?
So 7 in a row going for the Ocho tomorrow against what I think will be a really good measuring stick of where are the Preds. Colorado, one of the best teams in the league, won the Stanley Cup a couple of years ago. And where do the Predators stack with the Colorados of the world? I mean, they pounced on Minnesota last night, just beat the dog do out of them.
Yeah.
6-1. And, you know, I'm shaking my head going, what's going on here?
I don't know that anybody can really explain it. I mean, yeah, they're kind of settling in. They've got some young guys that are stepping up, some guys like McCarron and, Nyquist. And, I mean, they've got some unsung heroes on this team that I think fans locally are having to, familiarize themselves with. 7th straight win, longest winning streak since 2021. So it's been, 3 seasons since they've...
Gosh, I don't remember the 2021. I don't.
Me neither. Is in December of 2021. So earlier in that season, the Preds have outscored opponents 32-12 during this win streak. They've scored at least 4 goals in 7 straight games, which is a crazy number. UC Saros, 5 straight wins in the net, and he's only given up 7 goals, which is another wild number. Some of these stats coming out of this win streak are incredible. They're now 8 points up on the Wild, and they've got that first wild card spot now.
They are.
I mean, that was something we didn't even think.
No, actually, second one.
I checked last night. They had the first on
they're
NHL.com.
They're tied with the LA Kings.
Because LA won.
LA
so I guess
won
that
last
game,
night
okay,
in
that
Vancouver.
game hadn't happened, but at a point last night, they had sole control of the first wild card spot. So obviously, they're tied right now.
The second wild card spot, the 8-hole, they are 7 ahead of St. Louis, 7 ahead of Calgary. This is points. 7 ahead of Seattle, 8 ahead of Minnesota. I mean, they have gotten themselves quite a pad. And after Colorado, the schedule gets considerably easier for a couple of games. Buffalo and Montreal, and not in that order, I don't think.
And another thing, Roman Josi is on fire. I don't think it's a coincidence the Preds are winning and their captain is playing as well as he is. That last night was his 2nd straight game with 3+ points. So assists, goals, combine those. I mean, this is the best I think Yost has played maybe in his career. Best stretch he's played.
Paul McCann, their PA announcer, does a great one when he goes, "The captain, Roman."
I love Paul McCann.
Last night when when Roman Josi scored the goal, I think they put him up 4-1. I gave it a big, "The captain, Rome." It's fun. Winning is fun, by the way.
It really is, and it gets you a taste of the playoffs back in Nashville, and I think that's what fans are hoping for, barring a kind of an epic collapse. I mean,
it's what I'm hoping for.
How bad would the collapse have to be? I mean,
basically, it's like baseball. Okay, they are 3.5 ahead of St. Louis, and I think it was Calgary. In baseball terms, 4 games ahead of Minnesota with 20 to play. I mean, good Lord, the Braves had a collapse 10 years ago that was way worse.
So basically, the Preds just can't go on a 7-game losing streak.
No, absolutely not. I mean, Billy, 2 weeks ago, their chances of getting in had probably dropped to, 35%. And now, to get in the playoffs, I would think is over 60%.
Yeah, and that's something I was thinking about last night. Like, they're on a 7-game winning streak, but they're still not even really close to being a lock yet. I mean, they're still working.
No.
That's how kind of far down they were, and it took all this work, to get back to where you're feeling comfortable, but you can't get too comfortable. And Saturday night against the Avalanche, 5:00 puck drop, actually, so a little earlier. I agree with you. The Wild are a pretty decent team, but the Avalanche is another step up.
It's a top 4 or 5 in the league. And to be honest, Billy, when they went to Vegas and dominated in game 2 of this winning streak,
that's what woke
that
it up.
was the game that had me going, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah.
What is going on here? Because Vegas has been really hard.
Yeah, I think I did a double take when they beat Vegas there. So Preds are on fire, 7 straight, put up 6 goals last night against the Wild. They will play Saturday night at 5:00 against the Avalanche. Got some NFL news. Got a lot today, actually. According to Adam Schefter, the Eagles are releasing Kevin Byard. They acquired him from the Two-Tone Blue here in Nashville last October for a 5th and a 6th round pick, along with safety Terrell Edmonds. So,
does it sound like it's a salary cap dump, or they didn't think he was as good as they thought he'd be? Can you really tell?
No, I can't really tell. I mean, I think it's a little bit of why the Titans might have. They didn't release him; they traded him, of course. But releasing Byard is kind of strange. They didn't even try to. There's no trade in there with someone else. They just released him. So I don't know, kind of strange. I liked Byard when he was here.
Oh, very popular.
But did feel like he was fading a little bit, in last year for most of the beginning of last season. So Eagles are ridding themselves of Kevin Byard. Also, college football. This was a big piece about lunchtime today. According to Ross Dellinger, college leaders, whatever that means, are expected to finalize today the player-to-coach helmet communication system and the use of tablets on the sideline and at halftime and a 2-minute warning. So college football is now a minor league for the NFL.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. The technology has been there now for close to a decade.
Yep.
And so you might say, what have they been waiting on?
Yeah. The helmet communication system, this could be the most significant technological change in college sports history, in recent college sports history. It's supposed to directly mirror the NFL's. Only one member of each team can be equipped with a listening device in his helmet. So quarterback, middle linebacker, quarterback of the defense. And the communication is cut off, same as the NFL, at the 15-second mark. So this is the NFL system. It's not
talk quick.
Yeah, it's not the adapted system for the college. This is the NFL system. And the tablets are also going to be used. I'm surprised that hadn't. I mean, I thought they had already kind of been using a lot of those tablets, but I guess they haven't, and they've got them now. So they'll be able to use everything the NFL is using. College basketball, big weekend of college basketball. Huge slate tomorrow. I want to get to the updated national championship odds. According to FanDuel, UConn is at the top of the hill, plus 550 to win it all. Houston, plus 700. Purdue, plus 750. So those are the top 3 right now.
I would have
tier.
Purdue in the 2-hole.
Yeah, I might be with you there. And
I don't mean that as a knock at Houston. They're really good, But they don't have Zach Edey.
Exactly. And then there's kind of a break. Arizona and Tennessee are both plus 1,300, which I would agree with. I mean, I think those two teams, if Tennessee wins Saturday, they might bump up. So that's such a big game. Saturday night, North Carolina, Marquette, and Auburn are all plus 2,000. Marquette, another team to watch. I'm surprised Auburn's as high as they are. You know, we didn't talk a bunch about them and how they played really well against Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still, I mean, like, I still think Auburn is, I don't know about Final Four good. I mean, they've got pretty good national championship odds. So, but I mean, I think that's an Elite Eight potential team, maybe a Final Four team. I mean, we've seen Bruce Pearl do it before.
Could be. If I was going to play Tennessee in Knoxville and I really need to win, I'm trying to keep the score lower than it was a couple of nights ago.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's what South Carolina did. If I remember correctly, that game ended up upper 60s, low 70s.
Yeah, and, you know, we forget Tennessee under Rick Barnes usually is a defensive team. I don't think you can say that. They're a good defense, but they're not as locked down as they've been. I mean, they gave up almost 90 to Auburn. You know, when they want to, they can, but, like, Connect isn't a great defender.
No,
you
but
know,
they
you don't
have
talk about
really good rim protection.
They
Man.
They do. But I think, like, I'll be interested in Alabama Saturday night. Does that get into the hundreds, 90s? Because it's hard to hold Alabama, especially at home. So I'm interested to hear. We got Griff coming up a little bit later to talk about that, actually here in about 5 minutes. But a massive slate tomorrow. Starts off at 11 a.m. Florida is at South Carolina. That one's on ESPN. At noon on
Big
ABC.
seeding game.
Yes. SEC tournament, NCAA tournament. So big seeding game. Noon on ABC, Kansas at Baylor. Big seeding game for Kansas. Can they kind of stay on that 2 line? Because right now I think they're a definite 2. But, I mean, if they go down tomorrow, you could see a drop. Marquette is at Creighton tomorrow at 1:30. Another big East game. NC State rivalry here at North Carolina. NC State, I want to say, is in the tournament. I'm not as locked into Lenardi right now. I don't know if you've seen NC State, but I mean, they've got a good enough record. I think they're in. But again, I don't know.
Does he have them in?
I don't. That's the thing. I don't know.
I don't think
so. Not as sure. I don't know if they're on the bubble. But Mississippi State is at Auburn tomorrow. That's a big one for.
That is a big one.
You know, for both teams. I mean, so many big games. Houston is at Oklahoma. Can they, keep winning? Oklahoma's got a decent team. Michigan State at Purdue. Michigan State needs it because they're
not winning at Purdue.
They're a team on the bubble. Tennessee, of course, and Alabama. And this is a big one. Gonzaga at St. Mary's. St. Mary's has already
late night,
9 o'clock after Alabama, Tennessee. But St. Mary's has won the regular season title already for the first time since, I think, 2012.
And I haven't looked at Lenardi recently.
Gonzaga is.
What are they?
I know they're bubble. I can't. There's so much movement.
Okay, I'll try to look at it during the break.
Luckily, we got our college hoops expert coming on. We'll be able to fire these bubble questions at him. And then I want to mention this, George. I know it's early for college baseball. Vandy's in Houston this weekend at Minute Maid Park. They've got Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns, here in about 45 minutes. And then tonight, it's not on TV, but Texas and LSU are getting together up there in Houston tonight at 7. It's going to be a fun environment. It's on the Houston Astros YouTube channel if you want to watch that.
Thank you.
It's always fun when they get together.
I'll be honest, I won't.
Well, I've started to love that product. I mean, the fans have started to get into it.
Oh,
and I think you've got SEC teams that have invested now, and of course it's March, so
it's also easier once the baskets are kind of over with.
Yeah, that's like football. After the Super Bowl, you get locked into hoops. But that's all I got.
We're 2 weeks away from the NCAA selection show. 2 weeks from Sunday is when that happens. So we are getting there.
Yeah, and real quick on Bayard, we had a question from Chris on YouTube. That did save the Eagles $13 million. So I want to throw that out there.
Money. Okay, after the break, Mark Griffin joins us. We'll talk. One of the games of the year in the SEC is tomorrow night in Tuscaloosa, Alabama at home against Griff's Big Orange. Stay tuned. We're coming back.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, "You need to call Bart Durham." And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
I'm Watson Brown.
I'm Kelly Holcomb.
I'm Billy Derrick.
We're the George Plaster Show. We've been Nashville's best sports talk for the last 30 years. And you know what? We still are.
Catch us live weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m. Central Time in Nashville on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Also, the podcast version is available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs. Joe Lunardi has released a new bracketology today. Here's what he's got. Last four in: New Mexico, Gonzaga,
Okay.
Seton Hall, Providence. First four out: Villanova, Utah, Colorado, St. John's. A&M and Ole Miss are in the next four out category, which means you damn well better start winning soon. Real soon. Got it?
Got it. I did
Okay.
not think NC State was in for some reason. They've got a decent record, but it means more than just the record. So they are not even close.
Let's check in with Mark Griffin. Find out where he is. Mark, how are you?
Great, guys. Thanks for having me.
So I'm sure you're geared up for tomorrow night at Coleman Coliseum, Tennessee and Alabama. Give me some thoughts on how you think that's going to go down.
I'm concerned for the Tennessee faithful, George and Billy. I looked up some information on Alabama, and they're 13-1 at home. They haven't lost in the conference. The only game they've lost this season at home was against Clemson, I believe, by 8. 77-85. Just a much different team. It's amazing if you juxtapose them playing at home and on the road, the difference in performance. I even did a little deeper dive. I don't try to rely on other people on Twitter. I looked this information up myself, but their average margin of victory at home in the SEC is a little less than 19 points.
Yeah, they have clobbered people.
Wow.
And that includes a 4-point win over Auburn. So that lets you know how well they've been playing. Another nice fact about this Alabama team is that they're number 1 in the nation in points scored. A little bit over 91 a game, I believe, is what they're scoring. So you've got a team that can score. So, you're up against an opponent, Tennessee, which I believe is 7th in the country as far as how they play defense, as far as field goal percent. So it's just the tale of two teams. And Billy, I know you'd mentioned that Tennessee was giving up more points. I actually had a chance to look that up. They're 54th in the country, giving up 67 points a game. And you may think, okay, how does that compare to Alabama? Alabama's 344th in the country, giving up 79. So Coach Oates is not as concerned about his defense as he is his offense. And, we've seen that demonstrated throughout this season. And it's going to be a great matchup. I've actually been to an Alabama-Tennessee matchup several years ago when Nate Oates was on board. And I think we can't give him enough credit. I mean, for someone to come from his background, if you don't mind me touching on that, guys, he started off as a high school coach in Romulus, Michigan. And for you basketball savvy historians, that's where – and Terry Mills went to Romulus, but not at the same time. He's a little older. But I played against Terry Mills when he was at Michigan. And he spent 12 years at the high school ranks and then moved up to assistant at Buffalo, promoted after 2 seasons, spent 4 years at Buffalo, and guys went to the NCAA 3 times. And then now he's in his 5th year. All these coaches we talk about, it seems like they're in their 5th year. He's won 3 SEC regular season championships. This is including COVID in his 5th year. And each year that he won an SEC regular title, went on to win the conference championship as well. So he's just done a tremendous job in this, football savvy school where people somehow think you can't combine basketball with football. He's definitely shown you can. So kudos to the athletic director at Alabama that brought him in, because he has been a difference maker in this conference.
Okay, everybody who keeps up knows Alabama wants to shoot threes, more threes, and nothing but threes. So you're certainly not going to zone them. Mark, I have believed that you can get in Alabama's jock and guard the crap out of them and stop some of that. Why haven't teams been able to do that?
George, that's a great question, because it's the first thing that came to my mind too, is why don't you just double up Mark Sears and make someone else bring the ball up the court? Why has teams tried this and not been successful? I've watched, but I haven't paid that much attention to see, what the strategy has been against him in particular. But it's being talked about on Tennessee staff. I think you're going to see a lot of pressure. Tennessee does a really good job of putting pressure when the ball's inbounded, and then they go one-on-one. I wouldn't be surprised if they would double up Sears. That's something to consider when the ball's being inbounded, and try to keep Ziegler or Meshack, or Meshack's a great defensive player, on Sears, and just put a lot of pressure. Just make him work, make him turn, make him go different directions. Not that you're going to wear him out. I mean, he's seasoned battle. He's not going to get tired. but you want to make them work for it, make them think as much as you can. And what's really inspiring by watching Sears and what Alabama does, they are probably one of the better teams in the SEC, at least, that penetrate the middle. And if you don't guard them, they're going in for a layup or a 3-point, or a 3-foot shot or so. And if you do pick up, they, as far as help side defense, they pop to that wingman and really utilize the 3-point shot. Not getting a lot out of their big men. They really don't even have a true big man, I would say. Grant Nelson was a highly rated, the most highly rated transfer that comes in. And he's more of an outside in guy, another threat that can shoot 3-pointers. But it's just it's their, it's in their blood that they're going to get up and down the court and they're going to get up shots, and they defend not great, but they're going to beat you with pounding the ball, driving inside, and kicking and shooting threes, guys. And they shoot the free throw really well. I want to say, I looked that up. I think they're 7th in the nation in free throw percentage as well, which is fantastic in the nation for free throws, shooting over 79%.
Mark, as I ask this question, even I'm like, George, what do you want? Okay, I thought a couple of nights ago when they beat Auburn that they fell back a little too much into the give it to Dalton Connect because nobody else really wants it. He had 39, and yet I'm sitting there going, okay, George, if you're coaching that team, you've got this great talent. Why wouldn't you let him go for 39? But did you feel a little uncomfortable that the others were maybe sort of saying, you take it, we'll watch you?
George, I was at that game, and the only thing I felt was get him the damn ball. and I had a great angle to watch how the court opened up and how he was able to run off either baseline coming off screens. So if the difference in this game and what has been mentioned about Dalton in the past as far as taking over and people watching is you didn't have the other guys watching. They were screening.
Yeah.
And they were moving after a screen to clear out space. Because when you watch basketball games, it's all about spacing. Now, Connect did a fantastic job, and it's been well documented, him scoring 25 points in 12 minutes. But what was amazing that I don't think's been talked about enough is the variety of shots.
Yes.
I mean, he went in two-handed dunk. He went in left-handed, like a mini hook shot, fadeaway jump shot, a drive to the basket off the board. I mean, it's variety, and you can't guard that. When you guard, guys are either going to lean in or they're going to fade. They're going to take a jump shot or drive for a layup, but not the repertoire that Dalton Connect has displayed, especially against Auburn. But with the spacing part, guys, it's so important because what I noticed early in the season that Dalton was guilty of, if anything, was trying to drive to the basket, and there wasn't enough spacing, and he'd get the ball stolen from him. And then next thing you know, you're getting a layup on the other side. But by these wings moving farther out in space, like you were able to see against Auburn, it gave him room to work. And he was able to make passes when he didn't drive, and they were there for open UT players, and then try to get the ball back. But everyone in that arena wanted him to have the ball. Coach Barnes wanted him to have the ball. It was the second most incredible performance that I've seen at Thompson-Boling as a fan. Number one, unfortunately, against the Wildcats, Jody Meeks, years ago, I think he had 10 3-pointers and about 55.
I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you think Alabama tries to guard Dalton Connect?
I think if anything, they're going to bang him. When he comes through on screens, they're going to shoulder him. And they should. I mean, not hurt him, but you're not going to run through that lane without contact. When he's got the ball, they're going to try on defense to get lower than him. There's a phrase in basketball, low man wins. And that's especially on the defensive side. If you can get lower than him and really work your hands and make him think about which direction he's going to go and is he going to have the ability to drive past versus thinking about driving past. And that's what he's so strong that no one talks about is the mental capacity that he has. And you've got to be mentally strong, because if you think about driving right or left, then mentally you're already defeated. And I think Alabama's they're going to do a lot of chirping. I think they're going to body him up. I don't think they're going to do what Calipari did as far as going all in, double teaming him as much. But I do think they're going to know where he is. And I think for Alabama to be successful, they're going to have to do a great job of communication to let their teammates know, help side, help right, help left, Dalton coming to the free throw line, etc. They're going to have to do a really good job communicating and be on their toes.
I know you've prepared a lot of stuff, so I'm gonna take you and me yapping and cut it back just a tad. I want you to give me some thoughts on Kentucky's road win in Starkville, because to me, this was really meaningful.
Very impressive. And man, Reed Shepherd, I was shaking my head. You talking about a cool cucumber with no emotion. And what's interesting, I like emotional guys, but I like confident guys better, because, with emotion, they always say, don't get too high, don't get too low. A good comparison with emotionless but focused, confident players, Reed Shepherd, another one, Dalton Connect. They carry themselves the same way with that confidence, that air about them. And he just took over the game. And some shots that he hit, guys, were just amazing. Obviously the last second shot, I watched that game very closely against, I think, a really good Mississippi State team. Chris Jans has done an incredible job in a short span that he's been there. Josh Hubbard is the best freshman that nobody talks about because he's not wearing blue. And, with Tolu Smith healthy now, playing much better. But that Kentucky is a team that's very perplexing, and a lot of people have them going far if they can turn on the defensive switch. I just think it's difficult just to flip a switch on defense if you're not doing it now. But if they can be consistent, then I think they're really got a shot. Now, what's interesting about Kentucky, though, George, their best defensive team is not their best offensive team. So you've got an issue there with substitution. Thero, I think it's number 3, great defender, great athlete, can't shoot worth a lick, 3-pointers. And you've got other guys, some of their bigs, they're good shot blockers, can't score. So you've got to look at that rotation, but you got depth, and that's something Kansas can't say. And with Kentucky's got that depth, Calipari can make changes and get the right people in there. So I think Kentucky's got a great shot. I think they're going to be one of the favorites for the SEC tournament, even though Cal will downplay it if they lose. Okay,
a yes or no question. Eric Musselman back next year at Arkansas?
No.
Is that so?
My sources, as people always like to say, right?
Yes.
You don't reveal who it is. That
of course not.
He's on the lookout. He stays a step ahead of the game. If you look at the history of him, and I've met him several times, and he's a very interesting person, and a very nice person, George. You'd love him if you haven't met him, but just engaging. I could see where people are drawn to him.
Yeah.
He hasn't stayed a long time at a lot of places. I mean, and I'm not talking NBA, but, he was at Nevada, and then let's see where else.
Then Arkansas.
But I think it's, no more than 5 years.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's a vet of 10 years per program. But I'm hearing he's getting some looks, but at the same time, how interesting is he going to be to these high stakes donors if he's sub 500? At the end of the season, if he's 13-16, how attractive is he to a Louisville or a Ohio State or somebody like that? Not as much.
Okay, we'll get to your stuff, including a trivia question that I'll probably bomb on. Yes. Stay tuned. Plenty more with former University of Tennessee basketball star Mark Griffin right after this.
Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Tracks machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com.
Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications, and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 615-832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Convenience and value, two words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
Late word out of Vegas and Industrial Boulevard, Alabama, 2.5 over Tennessee.
About right, I guess.
Okay.
On the road, I would, if Tennessee wins this, I'll be surprised. And if they, I said last week, if they go 3-1 in this gauntlet, I'd be very happy. This is to me, this is to be the hardest game, even with Kentucky coming to the next game is at South Carolina, which obviously will be tough. I don't think it will be as tough as the game Saturday, and of course anything goes with Kentucky. But I still, my biggest concern is this Alabama game.
Okay, this is where I kind of turn it over to you and Billy to take it wherever y'all are going to take it. So take it.
We're going to
All
kick
right,
off
Billy.
with the SEC standings.
Good call. And I'll be brief on this. I just like to give like a weekly rundown and looking at some of the key teams that have moved either up or down and looking at some trends. And I really like to focus on that top 4. And then I like to focus on the bottom 4 because your bottom 4, your Wednesday night openers, George. And
yes,
let's start off with Texas A&M. Since Texas A&M, and they're sitting at 10 right now. Now, note, Texas A&M SEC preseason, 2nd.
Whew.
Last 5 games they've lost since they beat UT in College Station. Going the wrong direction, and for somehow Lenardi still likes them. Okay? I don't understand that, especially when you're 6-9 in the conference. Big game at Georgia. What's really interesting this weekend, guys, if A&M loses to Georgia, they flip.
Wednesday night.
Yeah, and then you've got Georgia now sitting at a 10, and A&M maybe opening up the tournament. I mean, who would have thought that? So that's one fact that stood out. The other, is Tennessee has won 5 in a row, so they're at a good standing right now. And I'm really pleased to see that. And last game they lost once again at College Station against A&M. A team that we've really been talking more about lately that the coach would, if it wasn't for Lamont Paris and at South Carolina, George, I'm sure you would agree that the coach at Florida, Mr. Coach Golden, would be up for the SEC Coach of the Year. The games of February, they're 5-2, and they've locked into the fourth place spot, and they play South Carolina Saturday at South Carolina. So that's going to be a really great battle to see who can remain in that top 4, looking at the double bye, because these coaches are talking about it. Fans are talking about it. It does make a difference, I feel, because you get an extra night rest.
Oh, absolutely.
You get to watch, observe, get acclimated, get used to your hotel and the way things are run when you were, hanging out at the hotel and eating, and when you're on your plan and studying, etc. So it's just lets you relax a little bit more, which is not a bad thing. And that's it for the SEC standings right now, guys, unless you have anything you want to add.
No, other than you said it, the top 4, the battle between Florida, Kentucky, and Auburn to be the number 4, that's a big deal for a double bye.
No doubt. And South Carolina could be on the outside after this is over. I mean, they're not locked in if they lose, the next 3. So
yeah, and back to Kentucky real quick. I know we got some other stuff to get to, but I'm with you, Mark. Something about this Kentucky team thinks this might be the year they go on that run in Nashville and they build some confidence. And, but if they lose in March, it may not mean anything. But I still like this Kentucky team. Take their record away. They very well could be a top 4. But even if they're not, I still like them in Nashville.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. You think I thought about this, but let's say if it stands what it is now, Tennessee's a 1. From the outside, of course, coaches are going to tell you all coach talk. I'm ready to play the next team. That's all we're focused on. I would hate for whoever number 1 team is to play Florida as a 4, second rank, or I guess that'd be the Saturday game. And so it's like, are you rewarded for being a 1 seed when you've got Kentucky sitting at the 4 and a chance to play them by them beating the 5th place team in the tournament? So it's going to be a great tournament. I cannot wait.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty amazing.
That 2 seed, Mark, Alabama, is where we're going to go for the MUP.
Okay.
And his name, as I pull up this graphic, we'll go ahead and kick the picture off with him, but Mr. Estrada.
Now, what's interesting about Mr. Estrada, I didn't know a lot about him when it came to transfers, and then I started watching him. I thought, guys, he plays like he's 6'8", and I thought he was about 240. He's only 6'3", and I believe 190. But his presence is much larger than his actual height and physique. Now, what is interesting, when you look at transfers, I look to see how many schools you've been to. Now, what's interesting about Mr. Estrada, he started off at St. Peter's, went to Oregon, 2 years in Hofstra, and now he's on his 5th year at Alabama.
Good
4
Lord.
schools. Where does he go for homecoming, guys? I mean, come
He's
on.
with JT Daniels on the float at the Rose Parade.
Yes.
It's crazy. Now, this is where you got to give Coach Oates even more credit. He was able to pick this player where I'm assuming a lot of staff said, we're not taking a kid that's been with 3 programs. That's got to be a red flag. I can understand 1 or maybe 2, but 3, okay, something's going on there. But the benefit of Aaron, what I love about him is he's not the highest rated player. Grant Nelson was the highest rated transfer. He's not Mark Sears. He's not the leading scorer. He is the second leading scorer. He's the second leading rebounder. He's the second in steals. He's 4th in the conference in assists.
Yeah.
And he is the X factor, as is Jordan Josiah James to Tennessee. And so this is great timing to bring him in for this weekend's matchup so your listeners can really pay attention, because I think the battle between him and Josiah Jordan James, if they are guarding each other or when they are guarding each other, may be the biggest factor on who's going to win that game besides rebounding. I think the team that out-rebounds the other will win this game. I think that's what it comes down to. And he's on track. The last thing about him, he scored 1,845 points in his career. So
Wow.
He has gone from being the scorer to fitting in a role and has done a tremendous job and doesn't get enough credit.
The last time that Tennessee was in one of these deals, a lot of people didn't think they'd win at Kentucky, and they won. They punished Kentucky. When we were certain they'd win at A&M, they got drilled.
Yeah.
So I'm throwing up my hands going, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the last time these 2 teams played, Mark, Alabama, both teams are different, but it's like Alabama has kind of found ways to win, where you think they might, Ole Miss the other night. I thought that might be a game where Ole Miss might clip them.
Yeah.
But they end up scoring 100 again. So
yeah, every team goes on runs. Alabama, they have a marathon. I mean, they do it over an extended period of time. It's not like a 10-0 run. They go on like a 22-2 run. And then next thing you know, you're looking up and you're down 20, game over.
And I credit Nate Oates. The defense isn't great. He knows that. Their staff knows it. But they lost. Who did they lose, Mark? Their post player. I'm forgetting his name. It was
Bediako.
Bediako. They didn't expect that. Lost
the G
him.
League.
Yeah, lost him to the G League. Not, pretty close to the season.
Lost Quinn Early to Memphis.
Quinn Early too. So
great guard. He was one of my favorite players of the SEC last year.
Yeah.
And then Brandon Miller, obviously, to Charlotte, and one more where I think we're missing.
Yeah. Going to be fun. All right, let's get to some trivia, Mark.
I
like this question here. Which state has the most teams, 3 teams, heading into conference play currently in first place? So 3 different teams, 3 different conferences, 1 state, and they're all
right, George.
Hold on a second. Which state has the most teams heading into conference play currently in first place? Okay. Are we saying Alabama is in first place?
Not technically.
Alabama is a tie for first, but there's 3 teams. So is UAB a team in first place?
Well, okay, Samford is.
Okay.
Samford is. Are they in SoCon?
Yep. Yeah.
They're in first place there.
Right.
So you got Alabama and Samford.
Okay.
Where's the third?
I came up with this one. I didn't go to Twitter.
Okay.
That's a decent guess. First guess, though.
That is good, but you know what?
Yeah, whatever. Let's think here for a minute.
I'll give you a tip.
Okay.
The one of the head coaches, you know the name well.
I know the name well.
Yes.
Is it somebody I know?
It's somebody that I'm sure you do know.
Okay.
You should know.
Yeah.
I would second that. Yeah.
Okay.
And I can't give you the next tip because that would give it away, right, Billy?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a tough one, but you'll.
And if we have a time limit, we'll stop it.
Yeah, I think we've reached our time limit.
Okay.
Let's see it.
Okay. I love this
Let's see
question,
it.
by the way. It is Louisiana.
Oh, okay. Wow, I wouldn't have gotten that in a million years.
That's why I did it. See, when I ran this, I thought it's got to be California or it's Georgia somewhere. And then when I looked up I went through every conference in the country. One day I was kind of bored and worn out after the UT Auburn game, and the next morning at Starbucks. And then it stood out. I like, wow, McNeese, George.
Yes. So what are you hearing about Will Wade and where he is headed?
I heard from a good source he was offered the DePaul job and turned it down.
Well, let's say that anybody
in their
right mind right now, although let me say this.
Is it public knowledge that he was offered, though?
No, but here's where I would go with that. I mean, it's easy to say anybody in their right mind would turn down DePaul.
But that's an interesting.
Here's the thing. In the old days, DePaul dominated Chicago inner city recruiting and kicked butt.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody is going to unlock the DePaul mystery.
I've heard Bryce Drew potentially, who's at Grand Canyon.
I could see that. I mean, so Mark, let me ask you this. Do you believe somebody will unlock Chicago and get DePaul back up toward where, when you and I were growing up, where DePaul
Myers,
was?
The dad and son, Ray, and was it
Joey?
Little Joey with the glasses. Rest his soul. I know he died within a year or so. Here's the thing about DePaul. What I've heard through the travel ball circuit of my coaching days was a horrible relationship in Chicago with the travel ball circuit teams and the collegiate coaches at DePaul and surrounding areas. I don't know what it is about the programs up there, but it's not as fluid as far as communication, helping these kids stay local, which you would think that there would be a tendency to hopefully send your kids from Illinois to a state school or it could be even a private school, but to stay local so family wouldn't have to drive far, friends, loved ones, etc. So can you win at DePaul? I really believe you can win. A coach that looks at this program believes they can win anywhere. Did Bruce Pearl think he could win at Auburn? Yeah, I mean, he did. Did a lot of people doubt that you could turn around a program like he did? There's some that did doubt that because, let's face it, it's not exactly a powerhouse, but he's done an excellent job. I mean, look what Will Wade's done at McNeese, just to look at, an example there. I mean, it's about the coaching. Kyle Smith at Washington State. We can go on and on about coaches that have turned programs around that weren't powerhouses, either short term or even after, a few years. So it'll be interesting to see who takes that job. We'll have fun with this in a couple of weeks, but just wanted to run this by. I was thinking about you, George.
Yeah, I love it.
Glad to stump you.
Let's all right, let's wrap it up.
Is there something more?
Yes.
Okay.
One more.
I got a tough question.
So here we go.
Okay.
Team A, Team B, Team C, all pretty similar resumes. You see the biggest difference here really, Mark, is Team C with not the best quad 1, quad 2 record.
Yes.
But, really good net ranking.
Yes.
And, their conference record is good. So other than that, all three of these teams are pretty similar.
Now, here's the kicker, George, the tip. There's a common theme amongst these three programs' head coaches.
Is C New Mexico?
No.
Nope.
Oh.
But there's a common theme, like A, Team B, Team C, or Program C, head coach. They all have something in common.
Go ahead and reveal.
Okay. Billy?
Colorado, Providence, and Wake Forest.
Now I'm going to ask you what that theme is, George. How are the head coaches? What's their common theme or background?
They all have black in their uniform.
Well, that's actually pretty good too, but there's a lot of programs, but no.
Okay, let's think
I think
for a
I've got
minute.
it.
Steve Forbes is at Wake Forest.
Yes.
The guy at Providence,
Kim English.
There's an SEC background. Is it a Tennessee background?
East Tennessee.
That would be correct.
Yep.
Tad Boyle, 1-year assistant under Jerry Green. Kim English, 2 years assistant under Coach Barnes. Steve Forbes, 5-year assistant under Coach Pearl.
Wow.
And they are all on the bubble.
Okay.
I like it.
Let's end the segment, which has been outstanding, with a hand grenade.
Woohoo!
Does Michigan fire Juwan Howard?
Yes. Put the hammer down, baby.
That's your hand grenade, George.
Oh, I don't know that they want to do that.
It's not that you want to. I mean, is it necessary for the program long term?
Look,
I think now programs are going to be less patient than they were in the past. I mean, obviously, the main story comes out as Coach K at Duke, and they hung on even through losing seasons longer than they probably wanted to, and then he's a Hall of Fame coach. Now with these coaches that are out and about now, and the money involved, and waiting another year to see if they turn around, I just don't see that happening with many of these programs. Even Juwan Howard, who wore the uniform there, but I just don't think that's enough, George.
They got beat last night by Rutgers by 30. Ooh, hello.
And another UT commonality is
Kamwa
out
UT
for the year. Their best player.
Former player at UT.
Yeah. Sad ending to what had been a pretty darn good year for him.
Yeah, great
Mark,
year too.
As always, thank you. Great hour.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for all you do. Appreciate you putting those graphics up, Billy.
You got it. Thanks, Mark.
Spectacular stuff. Way to go. Okay. After the break, stat of the day, which in recent weeks I have bombed. And then Coach Watson Brown joins us. Why are we going to a 14-team college football playoff? If you're at 12, isn't the natural 16 and shut it off there? We'll talk with Watson.
Show me the money.
Stay tuned. Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in the car. with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family, and she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
You know, starting to save for your future doesn't have to be difficult. Let Wilson Bank and Trust help tone up your financial goals this year. Our certificates of deposits or CDs can help your money work harder with our competitive rates, earning you more than ever before. WBT checking options allow you to earn rewards you can really use, like a high interest rate or cash back on check card purchases when you meet some e-banking qualifications. Visit your closest Wilson Bank and Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC.
The George Plaster Show is Nashville's best sports talk, 2 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. There's a podcast version available on Spotify and Apple Podcast.
Top of the hour on a Friday. Coach Watson Brown coming up, talking a little bit of everything. College, pro, football. Got some new stuff going on in the college game. But first, stat of the day, brought to you by John English Antique Sports and Cards. You can find them out in Shelbyville. They're open during the week, Tuesday through Friday, noon to 5, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5. Give them a call, 931-492-4304. All right. A little bit of a tougher stat of the day here. We're going NBA, although I don't know, maybe not. In the month of February, we still got Griffin there. You want to keep Griff on for the? I forgot to take Griff off. Victor Wembanyama had 3 games with at least 25 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, and 5 steals, which hasn't been done 3 times in a single month since what player in 1993?
Oh, good Lord. Really?
That's talk about a hand grenade.
Scottie Pippen?
Is that your
Yeah, why not?
some quickies today? Hakeem Olajuwon.
I love watching Hakeem.
The dream. By the way, those uniforms, I don't know if they've gone back to those at all here recently. Those are nice.
Yeah. They need to. He was unbelievably good. Man. So I know we're about to get Coach Watson Brown in, and I'm told he's here as we welcome all of you into the 3 o'clock hour from our studios at the Ford Ice Center in Bellevue. Watson, how are you?
George, I'm doing great. I'm glad you didn't ask me that one.
Oh, my God. We could have been here. We've got the degree of difficulty has gone way up.
Yeah. I'll have to admit, I got to see Olajuwon a bunch. I was at Rice when he was at Houston.
Oh, wow.
And, of course, we played him twice a year and then the tournament and all that stuff. So, good gracious, was he good.
So you didn't have anybody that could guard him?
Nobody. Nobody on the college level. We could have put 2 on him, 3 on him maybe. I don't think it would have worked. As a matter of fact, I think I remember we tried that once.
So he played with the Cougars and the Rockets.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that. Interesting.
Yes. He never left Houston.
He was Phi Slamma Jamma.
Mm-hmm.
And how in the world NC State beat them in the final, I will never know.
Who knows? No, I don't either. I don't know. That's second to Villanova, I would say, wouldn't you, to Georgetown, Villanova? Those 2 right there has to be the top 2 of all time.
And within 2 years of each other. So let's get to the sport that you really love, college football. Why are we going 12 to 14 teams in the future in a playoff? If we're going to increase, isn't the obvious to go 12 to 16? and just say that's
I
it?
have no idea. George, this one gets me. I don't know. I have no clue. I understand if you want to add 2 more. Anytime you start getting that many really good teams in these conferences like the SEC and the Big Ten, you're going to want to add. I get that. But 14, why not just 16 and just go with it? Let it be. I don't know. I have no clue on this one.
Watson, so clearly they know already before we ever play a game in a 12-team playoff that the public is pumped about it, excited. The money rolls in on the TV package, and you can only imagine that weekend before Christmas where you've got a Friday night game and 3 games on Saturday, the level of excitement that's going to be there. It's a no-brainer. But, man, this seems a little quick.
Money speaks, George. Money speaks. And I think once they did this and said we're going with a playoff, deep in this playoff, they saw the excitement across the country. And I'm not sure it didn't surprise them that it was more than they even thought. And then you start talking money, and then you start saying, well, what's another couple of games? And so, I mean, it all fits to me. But it's also been the MO of college football lately, huh? If you change something quick, man. You change this quick, you change that quick. How quick did the NIL and transfer portal come around? How quick did we expand these conferences all of a sudden? I mean, it fits the MO of what's going on. I just still think it's money, and that's got to be what's speaking here.
Good Lord, I remember we fought like cats and dogs for.
You good?
Talk.
Watson,
you okay, bud?
I think he's good, but
that's good TV, huh? So, I mean, we fought like cats and dogs for 30 years to get the powers to admit that we ought to have a playoff, and now boom, boom, boom. Man,
well,
we're living in a different era.
When ESPN started throwing that money around, George, it changed everything. And that's what created the monster. And when all that money started coming in, then we start paying coaches more, and we start moving teams to this conference and that. And then all of a sudden the players are sitting there saying, which they're dead right, you're paying this guy $10, $11 million and I'm getting zero. You know, and it all snowballs. It all snowballed. And when Congress starts getting involved, man, look out at that point. And so I don't see it slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah.
I don't think we're through with teams in conferences yet. I don't. I think that I don't know that the NC2A will ever have the control they've had before again, ever. And the money keeps coming. The money keeps coming. I don't know how they feel where they can take the chances to spend more money, but I know they can go get the sponsors, they can get the commitments from these different corporations or whatever. And once you start doing that, and they say, yeah, we want to be a part of this. So then you start expanding and say, well, we've raised this, we've already got this in our pockets. Let's throw another 2 or 4 more in there, and let's keep adding to this. That's exactly what's happened here.
Watson, you know what's been going on the last couple of weeks now that the Super Bowl is over and all the other stuff, and we're getting to the combine. We're having this, paralysis by analysis of these 3 quarterbacks, Caleb Williams, Drake May, and Jaden Daniels. And it feels like the loser in this thing is becoming Drake May, who, without throwing a pass in the month of February, his stock has dropped. And I'll admit, I don't totally understand it. So give me your theory.
I didn't think Drake played great late. It even rhymes, don't it? Drake played great.
It's very nice.
But I didn't think he played as good in the last few games, last 3 or 4 games of the year. But that usually is not put that much into play with these guys. I don't see much difference in those top three. I really don't. I think you could flip a coin on all of them. I put Jaden Daniels one myself because he played phenomenal. I mean, just all year long against the best competition week to week that any of the three played against. And I just think that I would put him one. The next two, I'm not sure who I'd put two. I probably put Drake two. I thought Caleb Williams was the most inconsistent of the three. And I know the offense he runs and a lot of the passes that Lincoln Riley devises for him are not pro type passes. And his percentage, he gets a lot of easy throws because Lincoln is sharp and designs a lot of good stuff on first and second down. And he's always been that. And he's a little bit of a tinkerer that way, but he finds all these little throws, complete passes, and they do move the ball and score points. I'm not taking shots. I think it's good what he does, but I don't think it's the pro game. And I think a little bit of that may hold me back on Caleb Williams. But George, I don't see how you go wrong on any of the three.
Okay, so let's take that a little bit farther. In Jaden Daniels, is the big fear that he's a beanpole?
Maybe a little bit. I put Stroud one last year. If you remember, we talked and that we were close on all of them last year. And my only thing, I thought Stroud was the best performer of the bunch a year ago, and I put him one. And my negative was he's awful thin. He's just thin. He's going to have to get bigger and stronger, and he made it through the year with nothing, with injury whatsoever. So I'm not sure that I'm going to put that on Jaden, even though he looks just like Stroud to me. They're very similar. They're about the same height, same size. Both of them very thin. Both of them very athletic. Jaden's a little more athletic, I think, than even Stroud is. But they're both athletic. And Jaden doesn't get enough credit for his throws now. I'm telling you, go back and watch tape of him against some of the better teams. And he was throwing some nice, deeper balls and those deep square ends and hitting those seams. I think he's a better thrower than he's given credit for.
Issue that comes into play here are three guys who it feels like lose out in all this. In Chicago, it would be Justin Fields. In Washington, it would be Sam Howell. And in New England, it would be Mac Jones. So, Watson, of those three, obviously Justin Fields looks like the one that has, for trade potential, the most upside. But, I mean, are we really willing to just say, Sam Howell, you had 1 year, too bad that your surrounding cast wasn't any good. We're throwing you out with the bathwater.
Yeah, and I thought of the three, he's the one that got better as the year went on. Those three guys are good players on bad teams. And what are these three going to be? Good players on bad teams. The bad teams get the early picks, so the good players always go to the bad teams, man, and it is so hard. It is so hard on these quarterbacks. Y'all remember Peyton and Eli both. They didn't want to go where they were going to be picked, and they're pretty smart in what they did because they didn't want to end up on these real bad teams. And it's just not a good deal in the NFL for these great quarterbacks coming out, man, because they go in with usually not great protection and maybe not enough skill around them to be good players. They're always behind in games because the defenses aren't very good. They're the bad teams. That's why they get the early picks. And I just don't like the way this falls every year. But to throw all those three out on performance is hard for me because they're just on bad teams. I thought Mac Jones played the worst of the three. He just couldn't get anything going this year. Now, and he was being coached by a good guy to me that's been around a long time and knows the game really well. But something there bothered me. And that's the one to me that I wouldn't be afraid to trade because I just didn't see it this year.
Let me go back to Caleb Williams for a minute. It seems to me, and I know these are the kind of arguments that the Bears are probably having around their scouting people. One guy's saying, I'm uncomfortable with the wheeler dealer in Caleb Williams that felt like Russell Wilson in Seattle, where it was just draw it up in the dirt, go do something, and let's see how it comes out. But then there's probably somebody else in the room saying, no, wait a minute. In fairness to Caleb Williams, he had to score on every possession against good teams because defensively, they weren't going to stop anybody. So how do we judge him when he had to play arena football?
That's hard. That's why I didn't put him one, because he made a lot of mistakes. He had turnovers a little bit. He had bad plays. When you'd watch him play, he'd have a great play, then come back and have a bad play. And that's a very fair analysis by you, George. Is he was not on a real good team. He was on a team that everybody thought was going to be really good and wasn't. That even hurts him more. And he's always having to catch up. We got to score. We got to score. We got to score. And so, yeah, I think that's why it's hard for me to say there's a big difference in any of them. I thought Caleb was inconsistent at Oklahoma, but he was really young. And then when he went to Southern Cal, it kept coming. But there is that piece that you're saying that really Drake May didn't have to do that. That late in the year they had a little trouble, but early they're really good and they're beating people good. They ran the ball well. Now, I thought Jaden Daniels had to do the same thing at LSU. They weren't very good on defense.
Yeah.
But he seemed to do it better than Caleb did.
Mm-hmm.
And I think against a little better competition week in and week out than what Caleb Williams was playing. But again, I'm going to say it again. You could flip a coin right here. I think all three of these are better than the three we're discussing that are going to be traded. I do. And that's why there could be trades somewhere in these three.
Coach, those three guys we talked about get the shine. I've seen J.J. McCarthy not far behind them. I don't know about a first rounder. We'll see, maybe second round. Bo Nix has gotten some love. Are there any other guys outside of those top three that you think might, down the road has a shot at maybe having a decent career, whether it's Joe Milton? I mean, does he turn himself into something? But what do you think about maybe the guys behind those three guys?
I think the guys behind them are good. They're just not on that level. I think they're good players, and they could possibly start somewhere in the league. Great back. You talk about Milton. I think Milton will be a great backup in the NFL. I do. I think he'll be in the league quite a while. And he will be a better player in the NFL than he was college, because I thought the coaches at Tennessee did a great job with him, because he didn't really fit the offense. And they got about all they could get out of him. But I think he's better when you fake the ball, get him deep, and throw it one-on-one to somebody. And I do. I think he's more of that style. So, but I'm not sure he's a starter because of his inconsistent throwing the ball, just accuracy of his inconsistency. But I think big, tall, strong. I think he could be a backup and stay in that league 15 years.
I want to go back to the college game. We brought it up earlier in the show. The helmet communication system is coming to the college game. Quarterback and coach, and I would guess linebacker and coach as well, or DC, whatever. Also 2-minute warning. Also the tablets are available. What are your thoughts on those? How much does that helmet communication system help for college quarterbacks? And then defensively too, like how much does that help a linebacker potentially?
I don't know why they waited this long. I would have done it long before now. I know in the early years it was discussed when I was still coaching, but it cost too much money. Just couldn't do it. And because there wasn't enough programs that wanted to spend the cash to do it. That's what I heard in the early years, but I don't know. I think it helps the game. It'll speed up the game. I don't know if that's what they want, but it will. And it takes all of this sign stealing and all the junk out of it, which is overdone to me and magnified. But I know it happened. I know not illegally, but we've stolen signs before. I've stolen being a fast offense like I was, and that defensive coordinator's over there having to send in something quick, and you could watch the secondary to pass the signal on to each other because you're going so fast. Once we got them, it was kind of nice to know what's coming the next play, and so it'll stop all of that kind of talk, all of that stuff. The fast-paced teams are going to love it. I'm telling you, because it'll even make them faster.
Watson, let me go back before we end this to the three teams that are really under the gun on this. The Bears, Washington, New England. Do you think any of the three trade out of the pick and say, look, our quarterback that we already have is good enough. The trading out will help us with so many other needs?
Oh, gosh, that one's hard on me. The Bears would be the first one that I keep hearing. I think their quarterback's better than they're giving him credit for. I thought he's gotten better. I wouldn't feel bad about trading on the Patriots side. And man, it's kind of funky, isn't it, when the Commanders are sitting there wanting to trade a North Carolina guy to take another North Carolina guy. I mean, think about that one. Or would they take another quarterback with him there? Because he wasn't. Where was he drafted? Was he high first? I mean, deep in the first round, or was he early second? I can't remember where
Sam Howell was late first, wasn't he?
Late first, early second, probably.
Yeah. Look him up, because actually, I don't think that's true. I think, now that I think about it, Sam Howell was much deeper than that.
A little bit.
He was fifth rounder.
Fifth round. That's what I thought.
Yeah. So they could keep him and still take one. Would they take Drake May and have Sam Howell there?
How about that?
I'll say this: if Sam Howell were available, I wouldn't mind having him as a Titan backup.
Well, what about? Him?
He'd be a great backup now. I think he's a good, solid starter. He would be a fantastic backup. Gosh.
Justin Fields, Watson, what do the Bears do with him? I mean, I don't know if it's a foregone conclusion yet that they're getting rid of him, but it sure feels like it. Where do you think is a good landing spot for him? I'm hearing a lot about Atlanta. Do the Titans try to go get him? I'm sure he would cost a little too much, but do you think he would fit?
I think the Titans they've got to go with the guy they got right now. That's what they traded up to do. And
Billy's trying to stir things up.
Really, but that's a good. I mean, it's a good stir up. Because,
is Fields a starter?
He hasn't done it yet.
Yeah.
Justin Fields is a starter. I think any of these teams that are hurting at quarterback got to take a look at him.
Yeah.
I do think he's a better thrower than when he came out. The type of passes they were using him with were not as much what Stroud was throwing. It was a different style of offense. And I think he's grown into the NFL style, and I think he's getting better. And whoever gets him, I think it's a good trade. And to me, if I'm the Bears, man, what a tough decision this is, because you got to say he's going to get there. He's improved so much. He's going to get there. But if they don't trade him and keep him, they're going to catch grief if he don't. If they do trade him and he's something special, like I think he could end up being. He's big, strong, fast, and he's just learning the game. He's learning the NFL game. And I could see such a difference, Billy, at the end of last year, even over the start of last year.
Yeah.
And so he's the tough one if I'm the Bears, man. Leave it to the Bears. They always get right in the middle of these kind of things.
They really do. And it's almost a situation where you look at Fields and you go, man, okay, if the Bears release him or trade him or whatever,
they're going to trade him.
They're going to trade him. There's too many people would take him. Yeah. They're not going to release him.
Atlanta will jump at him. It's either Kirk Cousins in Atlanta or Fields. It's one of the two.
And Atlanta knows they're desperate. They've got to have a quarterback. Mm-hmm. And they're the ones out there that, to me, that you just got to have a quarterback. I'm not sure the Patriots aren't right there too.
The domino will fall. Domino is going to fall when we determine whether Minnesota can do a deal with Kirk Cousins or not.
Yep.
If they do, then Atlanta jumps all over Fields.
Yeah, and I mean, Minnesota's in a tough spot, guys, without Achilles. Kurt's been around a little bit now, and he's had a bad injury. I mean, that's not easy either.
No.
There's some really interesting things, and probably, would you all say, I think it is, there's been some really good groups, 2-3 quarterbacks a year, seem like they've been coming out in the last 5-6 years now. This is the best threesome I've seen, in my opinion. It's the best threesome as of yet of the draft.
It's pretty strong.
I still think
that's pretty strong. For the last 5 years, I'm talking about.
Yeah, Nix and McCarthy. Don't sleep on them either. I think those two guys
they're good players.
Yeah,
I mean, there might be 5 quarterbacks go in the first round. There very well could be. And quarterback is becoming such a big piece. How many got hurt this year? 16, 17 different quarterbacks missed games.
It was a bunch.
Ridiculous.
So now the backup really is important. And so now you're starting to take a guy like a Sam Howell. He might go up from 5th round now to 3rd round or high 2nd just to have a solid backup with the guy we got. I mean, when you don't have that guy and you're rolling along and you're Patrick Mahomes sprains an ankle for 3 weeks and you lose to get a chance to go to the Super Bowl because you don't have one behind him that can hang you in there. And I don't see a ton of them. Those backups are still not great in the NFL right now.
So with that, Watson, you keep getting me on another question. With that, could the Titans have a nice value pick late in the draft with a quarterback?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely they could. Where do they feel on their backup? We didn't feel very good on the backup at the end of the year. We didn't like the way he played in the preseason. I mean, he hadn't improved the way we thought he would. Are they going to keep him as the backup? Are they going to go get one as the backup? They got a lot of money. So, they may go take one of these free agent guys or something to come in and be the backup. So I just don't know. And then where's Ryan Tannehill going to go? I still am a Ryan Tannehill fan, and if it is good, because I think he is right there with Sam Howell in very close starter, fantastic backup. That's the way I feel about him.
Watson,
George likes Case Keenum.
Oh, well, I mean, Case Keenum has to be out there somewhere.
God bless him. He's out there. So he will land with somebody. And Case is a guy that I swear wherever he goes, that guy gets hurt. He always has to play wherever he goes. If he goes to a team, if I'm the starting quarterback, I say, oh, my goodness, I'm in bad trouble.
This will be his 24th team in 26 years.
And he's probably started 60 games, dude.
It's amazing.
Unbelievable.
Watson, thank you for taking all this time to be with us. Have a good weekend. We'll do it again down the road.
Thanks, guys. I'm having to travel a little bit, but I'll holler at me next week.
You came through loud and clear. Thank you.
Okay, guys. See ya.
Watson Brown joining us to talk all this NFL stuff that you're going to hear over the next
This is such a
month
ridiculous
and a half.
time of year.
Oh, it never ends.
I mean,
it's
like each quarterback has his own week of hype.
It's totally out of control.
Yeah.
So we'll do plaster bet of the day after the break, but there's just one problem. The lines that we normally have by now for the weekend, slim pickings.
Well, I've got a lot.
Okay. We'll figure it all out right after this.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, "You need to call Bart Durham." And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic, name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs.
I'm Watson Brown. I'm Kelly Holcomb.
I'm Billy Derrick.
We're the George Plaster Show. We've been Nashville's best sports talk for the last 30 years. And you know what? We still are.
Catch us live weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m. Central Time in Nashville on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Also, the podcast version is available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Big Saturday of college basketball. That's what we're closing it out with. Georgia's best plays. They've come out really late today.
Really late.
Usually most of the lines are out, if not all of them, by, around lunchtime, 1 o'clock. But, we're missing no Vandy LSU yet. We've got decent bits, so we'll see where Georgia's going. But first, Bart Durham Injury Law, best in the business. Give them a call, 615-242-9000, 615-242-9000, or log on to bartdurham.com. All right, first, let's check out what happened last night, and a 1-2 night. So overall, George, not the best week at all.
You did get should be 1-1 last night.
Oh, not 1-2. I guess
yeah,
1-1.
Let's not shortchange me.
Oh,
for God's sakes.
Yes. We can't do that. So where are you going tonight?
Okay, I got it's all weekend stuff. I got 5 plays.
Okay.
And I've reached a point, clearly I'm not doing particularly well right now.
No.
And neither are a lot of other people, because college basketball right now is really hard.
Mm-hmm.
So here we go. You know what? Hold on here. I need to make one other little check, and that is, wonder what the Preds line is for tomorrow. Yeah. Let's just sort of.
I kind of doubt that's out yet, too.
Take a quick look, and it is out. Wow. Okay. Avalanche are minus 140. What the heck? Let's show a little confidence in the Preds as they go for the Ocho, 8 in a row.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
Go Preds. Okay. 5 college basketball games, and all of them feel like kind of pick-em games. The first one, Providence, sitting on the bubble. I mean, squarely on the bubble.
Yep.
At home, -1 against Villanova. Villanova, not nearly the Villanova of your dad. These are not your Villanova Wildcats.
But I saw Villanova's on the bubble, too.
Yeah,
right?
They shouldn't be.
Why not?
Well, I don't know. I haven't paid. Look, they're nowhere near what they have been. Providence, what's the deal on them? Great rabid home following. They struggle to score. It is like a root canal when you watch Providence. Why am I taking them? I don't know. They're at home. Here's another one I'm not real sure about. Alabama has been so good at home. They have dominated people. They are 2.5 over Tennessee. I'm taking Alabama for one reason and one reason only. They're at home.
Yeah,
that's the only reason.
That number scares me, though, because I think Bama's going to win. But I can see a 2-point win here that gets close, maybe even 1. But, yeah, I do think Alabama wins. How does Vegas get it so – how do they get it to a point where they really make you think? I mean, almost every line – it's hard to really say, boom.
Billy, that's why they have chandeliers out there.
It is unbelievable.
Here's another one. South Carolina at home tomorrow. I'm taking the Gamecocks -1.5 at home against the Florida Gators. These are two teams that are both getting in the big dance, both of them trying to get seeding for the SEC tournament and seeding for the NCAA tournament. Should be a terrific game.
Yeah.
Here's another one for you. Wisconsin at home, 2.5 over Illinois. Illinois is probably more athletic, and they've got a great shooter in Marcus Damask.
Yep.
But Wisconsin at home is really tough in the Kohl Center. I'm taking the Badgers -2.5. And here is the gold star play. You ready?
The nuclear play.
Yes. This one is your double up, triple up to catch up. Why is Northwestern only 2.5 at home against Iowa? What is it Northwestern hasn't proven? They're really good.
Yeah.
Iowa, if they shoot the ball, they can be pretty good. Iowa, to me, is kind of a mediocre Big Ten team. What possible reason that this is only 2.5? I don't know.
Is that at Northwestern?
Yes, it
wow.
is. And I'm
Lack
going
of
back.
Respect.
I'm going back, Billy, to make sure that what I'm saying is correct. So bear with me here just a second. The Northwestern Iowa game is at Northwestern. I don't get it. Those are my 5. Providence at home, -1 against Villanova. Bama, -2.5 against Tennessee. South Carolina, -1.5 at home against Florida. Wisconsin, -2.5 at home against Illinois. Northwestern, -2.5 at home against Iowa. And the Preds to pull the upset and get the Ocho, 8 in a row against the Colorado Avalanche.
Let's go, Preds.
What are these bets worth?
Nothing.
Maybe. We're out of here. See you Monday. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your sports.